Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Tamara coming back at you with another video. Let's continue our discussion of traumatic bonding. So we're gonna just jump right on in, okay? The benefits of this video today is that you will learn the 9 signs, and I wanna say the 9 common signs of traumatic bonding. So let's go ahead and jump right in, okay? So I'm gonna start with the very first challenge that I see with clients who are traumatically bonded with somebody who has abused them. And the first sign I see is over-identification with the abuser. What I mean by that is the individual somehow has become so emotionally and psychologically bonded to the abuser or to the person who is traumatizing them that they almost over-identify with the abuser. So saying things like, well, I guess I would have hit me too if, or, I guess, my mom's kind of angry at me because I lied to her. I would do it too if I were in her shoes, right? You're over-identifying with the person. The individual who's over-identifying may also look for ways to be similar to the abuser, right? So we like the same kind of music, we like the same political figures, we like the same kind of artists or movies. So, he or she must be good at heart, right? So it's this constant need to almost fuse your identity with the abuser. It makes the reality of the pain less traumatic for the individual. And here's why. Because when you over-identify, you are kind of assigning positive and normal labels to the person who's abusing you. And when you do that, you kind of move their negative traits out of the way so that you can see all the good things about them. That focus kind of strokes the fantasy of that bond, right? Or, that need to feel loved and that need for affection from the abuser. Okay, so over-identifying with the abuser is one. The next one I have written down here is feeling indebted to the abuser. So feeling that you owe the abuser something. An example of this would be, my husband kicked me, punched me, gave me a black eye, bit me, and then, choked me. But then later I apologized to him and I paid for dinner and we got a movie and, I spent time with him and this, that, the other, right? So even though you were beat up or even though you were harmed or physically assaulted, in some strange way, you feel indebted. And so instead of the abuser apologizing, you decide to apologize instead. So it is a major turning of the tables, and it's an inability, this particular phenomenon of feeling indebted to the abuser. This particular phenomenon has a way of really reshaping the power in the relationship, because when you apologize to somebody who has abused you, you're handing your power over to the abuser. You're saying, I don't care what you do to me, I'm going to make sure that I'm still close to you or that we still have a good bond no matter what. Okay, the third thing that I have here is the idea that the abuser needs you. I've had many clients who have been sexually assaulted and molested by stepdads and cousins and nieces. And one of the things I've noticed is during the forensic process of filing charges and getting forensic evaluations and being tested and getting therapy, throughout that whole process, I've noticed that sometimes the victims will say, I don't want to go through with this because he or she needs me. I'm it, right? I'm the only one that they understand. I'm the only one who understands them. Right? I'm the only friend that my dad has, or, she's the only friend that I have. So there's this skewed view that even though I've been abused and neglected, the abuser still needs me. Okay, so keep in mind that, traumatic bonding is an emotional and psychological process, and it's this constant need to be fulfilled, right? There's like this internal void specifically for that abuser. And you want that abuser to fill that void by showing you love and affection. And unfortunately, these type of individuals, and if you're experiencing this as well, you end up in holes because you can't get out. You've dug a hole deeper and deeper for yourself. Okay, so the next one would be defensiveness. Okay, and I'm going to actually lump the fourth and the fifth one, defensiveness and protectiveness. Okay, so the individual who has been bonded to the abuser has a way of defending and protecting the abuser. And how they do this is by either standing up for the abuser, lying for them, protecting them from the law or child protective services, refusing to file ethics complaints or file police reports. The individual is so emotionally and psychologically bonded to the person who's abusing them that they totally overlook the fact that, okay, charges need to be filed. This is an ethics complaint. This is a civil rights case. They just overlook it. They are defensive. They don't want the world against the abuser, the person they trust and long for. And they also want to protect the individual from any kind of legal trouble that they may get into. It's a really sad phenomenon, okay? And it's important to keep this in mind too, that this is not about romantic partners. This is also about family members and adopted families and foster families and co-workers and people who are being abused in any kind of a relationship. So this is not just about romantic relationships. I want to make sure that I put that out there. The next one that I have is a desire to please the abuser, right? I want to make the abuser happy. So what do? He beats me up, he, assaults me and, makes me feel unloved, but I'm going to go and buy him a bouquet of flowers anyway, right? So it's this, I need to please you, right? I'm sorry that I made you angry enough to hit me, or I'm sorry I made you angry enough to assault me. It's this really skewed dynamic of it's my fault even though you acted out. Okay, so there's this undercurrent deep need to please. The next one is wearing multiple hats. Now this is interesting because if you look at traumatic bonding, if you look at this phenomenon in families with trauma histories and abuse and neglect and violence and domestic violence and poverty and low financial means, if you look at it from that perspective, wearing multiple hats can be abusive. So for example, let's say that a 20-year-old Mexican American or African American young lady is the oldest in the family. I'm just going to give you an example. The oldest in the family, the father is disabled, the mother moved out, dad has to raise the 20-year-old as well as 3 younger children. Now the 20-year-old may wear multiple hats. She may be the wife some days, she may be the parentified child. Okay, I'm going to put the definition of that over here. She might be the protector, she might be the defender, she might be the mom in certain cases. She might also be the attorney in some cases, fighting against the school for dad, calling him off from work, right? Things like that. So individuals who wear multiple hats in a family often take on various roles just to please and protect the abuser, right? So in the example of this 20-year-old, she's not only taking her brother and sisters to school, but she's also defending dad by calling him off from work and lying and saying he's sick. She's also talking to the school and giving school excuses for her younger siblings. So she's playing the role of wife and mom, right? And adult and, attorney, and, the list goes on. And so wearing multiple hats is a way that the abused attempts to keep the bond going between the abused and the abusee, right? The one who's being abused, for lack of a better word, okay? So that's important to keep in mind. And like I said, the parentified child is an issue as well, and that's actually my next one, the parentified child, the child who is put in the position of parent as opposed to child. No matter how old the child is, they do things that most parents would do. They discipline, they teach, they set schedules, they set boundaries, they push things forward, they slow things down. So the parentified child can definitely be abused, and primarily in families where there is domestic violence, or both parents are substance abusers, or one parent has died and one parent's single. So the parentified child can definitely develop a bond with one parent who's abusive. That's scary because the child loses out on their childhood and then they also grow to completely dislike adulthood because it's been so hard for them for so long. So, and the last one I want to point out is desiring love and affection from the abuser. What do you do when you desire love and affection from an abuser, right? You do everything that you can, you minimize your own needs, you maximize their needs, and you find some way to please them and get what you want and stay on a peaceful level with them, no matter what, and that's scary. I'm going to talk a little bit more next week about this and how it affects you emotionally and psychologically. And then I'm going to end this series. It's going to be my 4th video, where I'm going to talk a little bit about healing from this and post-traumatic growth, right? How to get back on track if this is you. So thanks so much, guys, for being with me today. I encourage you to give this video a thumbs up if you thought it was helpful to you. If you're interested in the topic of traumatic bonding, let me know. I'd like to talk a little bit more about this on some of my websites, my blogs, my videos. I've gotten a lot of requests to do this video, and I've gotten a lot of requests to do more videos on this topic. So let me know. Feel free to post a comment in the comment section below. Hit the subscribe button right over here if you would like to stay up to date. If you would like to stay up to date on my videos, which are coming out Mondays and Fridays. And if you would like to check into some of my other resources, check in the description box below. I have a couple of links there for you. I also have the last 2 videos that I did in this series also posted below. All right, guys, all my information is at the end of the video. But in the meantime, I wish you all the best. I wish you well, and I'll see you soon. Bye.